For the 2018 International Wedding Trend Report, we have teamed up with some wedding experts here in France who are going to give us their tips, their ideas and their advice on how to incorporate some of the trends that they're seeing, both in their own region and globally, into the design of your weddings. And for this particular video, I am joined by Katie, who runs a blog called Love French Wedding Style. And she does a lot of styling and designing of her own and collaborates with lots of wonderful providers who give her all these different fantastic products to play with, essentially. And I asked Katie if she would design a mood board that we could then take the things from that mood board and see how she translated them into the design of the table using various different trends that she's seeing at the moment, which is what you've done, Katie.
I have.
So we've got this fantastic mood board here, which I love to see something that's physical rather than digital, because when we talk about designing, we always talk about using the five senses. And of course, with a digital mood board, you can't touch it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it. And although we can't taste this mood board, we can certainly touch elements on it. And I think there's some eucalyptus here, which has given us a smell as well. So talk to me about the mood board and where your inspiration came from and what the overall cohesive feel is that you're wanting to translate onto the table.
Okay, so particularly here in France, people do some amazing rustic style weddings.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I've chosen this term rustic luxe because I think it's really important to have a polished element to that as well.
It's a big trend that we're seeing coming through now. So yeah.
So it's combining the artisanal, natural fibres like linen, wood, this lovely sky blue that we're seeing this year.
Yeah.
So I love these colours all together, but it's kind of piecing them together and seeing what works and what doesn't. And having this mood board that you can actually touch and feel gives you that opportunity to actually see what does actually work together, rather than just taking a digital image, which is essentially somebody else's photograph. You can really get a bit more of a sense as to what colours work together, and
definitely.
if it's too much or too little, perhaps you want to pare it back a little bit. This is obviously quite a busy board, and it's taking these ideas and putting them onto a table and deciding then, you know, can we take something away? Sometimes less is more.
Absolutely. And I think that's really true what you've just said there, because with a physical board, as you say, it really brings some realism to it.
Yeah.
With the digital board, it's a little bit harder, as you say, it is somebody else's photos and pictures that you're using, but because you can't really physically see them and touch them, you can't get that essence of what it's going to be when you translate it onto a table. So let's take some of the elements and have a look at them. I mean, the colour scheme, first of all.
Yeah, so we've got quite a wide palette of colours.
Yeah,
sometimes when
definitely.
you see digital mood boards, you'll see just one or two colours. So we saw quite a few from 2017 that were just that lovely dusky green colour, lovely dusky pink as well. This year, I'm thinking all of these colours actually could be incorporated. It's deciding what works best
together as a combination.
And your own taste as
well.
Yeah,
definitely.
You might not like this very vivid yellow that we're seeing, but you might like this lovely plum purple. So for me, we were talking about how popular copper is.
Yes.
I found I didn't really like copper all that much with some of the bluey colours that we're seeing. So I've chosen to put gold in instead because I think that just looks more romantic and a bit more rustic.
I like it as well because it's different, because at the moment what we've been seeing is a lot of marble and copper. It's been a very popular combination, and then with succulents thrown in, and that seems to have been a look that has really been quite popular in 2017, and I think it will remain popular to a degree in 2018, but I like the idea of pairing marble with something different, and of course you've got marble on the board here.
Absolutely.
So
I've chosen marble because I love it. I really like the way we're seeing some of the, it's kind of like an archaeological look in some of them with the gemstones and those lovely sort of fossilised pieces. I think marble is an easy way to incorporate that trend because it's quite simple colours, so you can actually mix and match quite a few other colours with it.
It doesn't clash, does it?
It doesn't clash, but it adds an element of luxury for our luxe part of the board, along with the transparent menus as well. So we're seeing this a lot at the moment.
Transparency's been huge for so long,
Love the
hasn't
transparency, because also personalising things is so popular as well.
Yeah.
I think this is a great way of doing it. You can write whatever you want on it. You can print things.
Absolutely.
This has been traced. We did this by printing and then writing over the top. So there's things you can do yourself. You could have them all digitally printed. We've put the menu on the table here. We've propped it up. just saying what the order of the day is.
Oh yeah,
We've got bubbles and beautiful bites. We've got a candlelit dinner written on there. And I think also what's really nice about that is it doesn't block any part of the table, so you can see straight through it.
That's exactly
a
right.
light feel too.
And don't you find with too many tables where they're really, really busy, it's difficult actually to see over them?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm always hesitant to put something in between two places like this. So obviously we've set this up just for two places here.
Yeah.
If this was a wedding, you could probably afford to have a bit more space down the middle of the table, but we're bringing all the design together in a compact space.
Small space,
a compact space. But here, I don't really like to see things between people too big in the middle. So I think having some of these lovely woodland scatters we've got here with a simple string of fairy lights and some lovely candles adds a really simple touch to it, but brings warmth and a bit of romance as well. And I love that.
Oh, definitely. And of course, you have incorporated succulents.
Yeah,
which have been very trendy for quite a long time.
Absolutely. I'm thinking, personally, for me, the way of translating those trends for 2018, it's a bit of a softer look. So lots of geometry in 2017.
Yes.
And I think still using the succulents, but adding a few more romantic florals and the softer things like the looser flowers, big roses and the lovely eucalyptus just combines really well with that to give it a modern look, but it's a bit more country as well. So I think you can be quite free with your design.
Which is where this luxe comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the sort of polished elements of the luxe, like the gold, like the marble, the precious stones, if you like. And then this sweet sort of rustic side, which is the lovely pale blue and the natural linens and the lovely natural wood, like we've put the little starter board here with the nibbles on. And that combined, I think it's a personalised feel, and you can add more luxe or more rustic to suit your taste.
So go whichever way works for your clients, essentially. Now, what have you got underneath the plates here?
So I saw this lovely design actually recently, which was a leaf design. And I've chosen this because I think it, again, just adds a bit of transparency. It adds a layer, but without being too thick and heavy, so you can see straight through. So
and you've got texture as well.
We've got texture, we've added it. So we've cut a flower shape out, sewed it together, added some dimpling to it with my best sewing hand. And I just think it adds a nice extra touch to the table that's light and fluid, and it follows our colour scheme.
It does. I really like that. And I'm a big one for texture on tables. I like different textures and layers, etc. And I think, as you say, it doesn't take too much away from the marble either.
No, and I think if you add too much, it's a bit like if you give two gifts instead of one, it can cheapen the first. It's a bit like, you want to add to it, but you don't want to take something away from what you've already got. So sometimes when I'm putting together tables like this, whether it's for a photo shoot, whether it's promoting a product, I take things away. I put things on and take them away, and you can play with that design. And the same with your mood board. You can take things off, stick things on, take things off. So I don't think that works, but I think that will look better. So you have it's
part of the creative process.
Yeah,
really,
and it may look a bit like a school project when you do this, and don't feel worried that it does, because actually,
no, but that's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for you and your client. Anyone can create a digital mood board within seconds. This takes a little bit longer, and it does mean you can actually visualise what you've got and whether it does actually work.
I think that's perfect for those brides that actually have a lot of trouble visualising what their wedding is going to look like. I think that sometimes the digital boards don't translate that look well enough for them, because it's somebody else's look.
Absolutely.
Whereas when you've got something like this, they can actually see the combination of this with this blue. They can see the fact that the gold is there. They can understand what that gold cutlery not only looks like, but what it feels like as well.
Yes, that's
right. And I think that's the difference. It's, one of those tools that's a great tool to use for visualization.
Yeah, definitely.
With, clients that can't.
Not forgetting also, there's nothing wrong with using a digital board, but you're looking at somebody else's styling, somebody else's photography. And that may look like a very simple design, but it may have taken hours for them to put it together for the shoot. And if you just haven't quite got the feel exactly right, it might not work for you. So having a play around with this, laying a fake table in your own home, trying it out in front of you, seeing how it works for either your own wedding or for your client, is a great way of doing it, because it really does give you that visual feel that you get an idea that it works. And you know when it works because you feel happy with it.
You get that feel, don't you, when you look at it. And as you said, don't be afraid to take things off. Just because they're on your mood board doesn't mean to say they've got to translate onto the table at all.
Absolutely.
So it's that as well, but not being afraid to lose things.
Yeah, you can definitely lose a few items along the way. Some things get added, some things we've taken away. So on this, we've brought quite a lot of things together here. So we're showing how you can style drinks in keeping with the colours too. We've got these lovely vintage glasses here. I love the idea with this trend at the moment of having past and present on the same table. So
yeah,
a little bit vintage, a little bit new and shiny. We've got some very old candlestick holders that came from a second-hand sale that I think were €2 or something like that, along with more expensive items. Like
as you say, that blend works really well.
Yes, and it makes, whether your wedding is big or small, it makes bringing the ideas of what you've got into reality, because you have to be realistic about your budget as well.
And I think that's what a lot of new planners and stylists really struggle with, is talking to the client about how they can take a trend, put it onto a table, but then they've got to remember they need to reproduce that table maybe 8, 10, 12 times.
Absolutely.
And as you say, budget often doesn't allow for that. So you might fall in love with a tablescape that you've seen on a styled shoot, but you've also got to be able to understand that, as you said, would take hours to set up. So it's about taking just a couple of elements from that and reproducing them, rather than the table as an entirety. Now, you've also got some rather lovely glassware here as well, which really sets off the scene too. And I think glassware is quite a big element on tables now. You know, we've gone well past that look of just plain wine glasses.
Oh yes.
We've got so much choice now, and these are particularly nice.
Yes, these are just a high street purchase, and I really like them because they've got this lovely plum purple, which I must admit, I'm not a big purple fan initially. So I was trying to find ways of how I could bring that purple into the table. Sometimes also it's worth noting that just because something's trendy doesn't mean you have to use it either.
Absolutely,
and I was
very
happy
good
to
advice.
walk away from purple, but I found a purple I do like, so I've put it on here, and I think it's nice because it's kind of like an ombre effect. And combined with our wine glasses here with that beautiful gold stem, I think they work quite well with the grey.
They do, and again, it draws out the colours in the flowers, and it all just works together and gives a nice cohesive look. And I really do like this mix of rustic luxe that you've got going on. I think I'm kind of over the rustic on its own, but by adding that luxe element, it's making it much more modern and trendy, and it's certainly something that I think we're going to see going into 2018.
Yeah, I think so. I think for the luxe element is really important. It feels special. It's a special day, a massive occasion. It should feel polished. Too rustic, it can feel a bit too homemade. I think it's drawing the comparison between homemade and artisanal kind of look, so personalised but not too home done, and I think you get that nice finish then that looks like it's professional, and hopefully that comes across in the table. And we've bought as many things as we can from here and put them onto the table without overloading it with things that perhaps we didn't really need.
No, quite. And again, something else I've noticed is the wording that you've used here to really just describe what it is that you're trying to portray. With botanical, natural wood, sky blue. It's the wording that also helps bring that board alive and really translates it for your client as well, to get them to understand your inspiration behind it.
I agree. And I think then if you've got these words, sometimes the photographs will paint a picture, but if you've got a little word that just sums up exactly what you mean, then it's a lot easier to translate, especially if you've got an idea in your head of what you think it should be, but it's translating that idea to your client, helping them see the bigger picture as well.
Which is often the challenge.
Yeah.
And now we've got the finished article. Well, Katie, thank you so much for putting this together for us, showing us your mood board, how you take that mood board and then translate it into the design. I think there's going to be a lot of things that our students particularly will have learnt from this video, because they hear my voice a lot, they hear my ideas a lot, but actually seeing something physical and then seeing it translated onto the table really does help to bring things alive for them. So thank you very much. I'm excited to see if some of your trend predictions are going to make it through into 2018. I think we're already seeing some of them start to peep through. So I think definitely the luxe look combined with the rustic look is certainly a trend we're going to see moving forward. Thank you very much.